This is a shitty day, but I'm writing down that I'm thankful for the shitty day. Something you're thankful for. So there's so many different ways of looking at it.
Did you push record?
Thank you so much for tuning in again on Our Second Act with Paige and Silke.
For your second act of life. Hi, Silke.
Hello, Paige. Good to see you. We are right before Thanksgiving. That is our topic today. At this time of year, we are very focused on being thankful, the importance of being thankful and grateful. And of course, you have, your own take on that.
Yes. Why, thank you, Silke. Thanksgiving is just like New Year's Eve, where everybody goes, oh, let's say what we're all thankful for. Let's say we're all grateful for. And in the next 24 hours after Thanksgiving, poof, we forget it all. Just like our New Year's resolution, which I have a lot to say about that. We'll deal with that come New Year's. So my whole thing is this, and this is the way I live my life. Every day, no matter what's going on, I always say out loud and or write down what I'm thankful for, what I'm so grateful for. And people say, yeah, I've heard that, I've heard that, I've heard that. But in the field that I'm in with trauma and seeing all the things that people deal with, it's amazing that you can be at the bottom of the bottom. But when you start to just say one thing that you're thankful for, even if that one thing is the sun came out today, or I loved the rain today, or, at least I have a place to live today. If you can always find one thing that you're grateful for and you're thankful for, that really makes a huge difference in your mental mood, your emotional mood, even your health as well. And it helps you get through whatever situations that come. And when we come around the holidays, there's a lot of dysfunction around the holidays, a lot of stress around the holidays. And what's interesting? There was a client of mine who was pregnant, and she had a miscarriage. There was also an accident from a dear friend of hers, and she got bad news about terminal illness of one of the family members. And what was so interesting is we had been working about thankfulness and gratefulness in her life, and it was so empowering to hear her say to me that at the end of that day, Paige, what I said to myself was, I was so grateful and thankful for the hospital staff that was with me and for my husband who was there for me. So through all that trauma in one day, she found one thing out of a day that would be very hard pressed to find one thing.
What I want to ask you though is, there's a lot of people that are just depressed. They're in a funk.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you hear even these horrible stories, it doesn't serve necessarily as motivation sometimes. It's like, look at this is a bad day and I don't, why am I not happy?
So what I always say to people, first of all, don't compare yourself to what someone else is going through and you're going through, because it's all relative. So that's the number one thing. Don't minimize what you're going through either. And you know what? There are going to be days where you just have a shitty day all the way around. You don't want to find anything thankful for, so you don't in that day. But maybe the next day you're ready to find something thankful for. So, there's a piece of being gentle with yourself. And even if it's putting down on a piece of paper on your shitty day, this is a shitty day, but I'm writing down that I'm thankful for the shitty day. Something you're thankful for. So there's so many different ways of looking at it.
I'm glad you said it like that, Paige, because I think some people need to hear that it's okay to feel low, that that's normal. Because sometimes when you see nothing but good stuff or nothing but happiness and you hear, well, you should be thankful and da, 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 sometimes it makes you feel almost worse. And I don't want people to feel worse.
Absolutely. Because remember, we are souls living in a human body, and because we're humans, we're going to have the emotions. And you can be perfect at writing down all the things that you're grateful for and you're thankful for. But if you're not also at the same time being authentic and honest and true about what is getting you down or what is upsetting you, then nothing's authentic about the gratefulness. So I'm serious. Write down, shitty day, but I'm grateful for this day. You know,
I
and
love
just take
that.
it from
That is
there.
really authentic and real advice. That's real to
Yeah.
me. That's real world advice. And then, now we can emphasize that it is proven if you're grateful, if you're thankful, if you write it down, that you will pull yourself out of it and that there is huge benefits associated with it. And maybe, we can encourage somebody to test that, including me, to see how that could change your world.
Well, you know what? I can give a story because it was around the holidays, the one time that my husband was very, very sick, and you know how sick he was, close to death multiple times. And I remember, the money was running out and there was such high stress, but I called up Comcast, and this was around Christmas. I called up Comcast and I said, who cannot afford to pay their bills? And they told me, and I said, okay, let me pay their bills for them, anonymously. And for me, that made me feel really good because even though I was going through so much stuff in my life, knowing that through my stuff that I was going through, making one call to someone whose power gets back on can really change a person. So, there's little things that we can do that's, for me, I was grateful for the fact that I could call Comcast and do that, even though I was having my own stuff going on.
And why is being in the moment so important? That's like the buzzwords right now, or at least for me, it's
Oh
not
gosh,
new information, but it's all over.
yeah, and it's nothing new. So let's be clear, this is nothing new. So for me, when I teach people to be present, for me, I teach people to be present and connected to their knowing. And when you're present and connected to your knowing, it takes you out of being anxious. It takes you out of your worry. It takes you out of your fear. Because if you're always waiting for the next minute, next hour, next day, next week, next month, next year, you're never staying present and you're missing literally the things to be grateful for and the things that you're supposed to go through each day of your life. And if you rush it so quickly, gosh, you miss those things that could be so wonderful, so empowering, so powerful, and just so heartfelt. So it's really important to stay present because in the present you can find things that bring you happiness and you can find things that you're grateful for.
Well, so like New Year's, then we're using this time to kick off our thankfulness and gratefulness journey. What's closing words of advice would you have for our audience?
My closing advice is this. Every single day, every single moment, you are given everything you need in this lifetime. And that includes finding the special moments, the special things that you're grateful, and the special things that you're thankful for. Don't forget it, especially as we round the holidays with lots of different dysfunction that comes up.
Well, Paige, on that note, I want to wish you a most happy Thanksgiving. And I am so thankful that you're in my life and that we're doing the show together.
Oh, you took my words out of my mouth. So that's what I was going to say. So then I'll get to say to all of our followers, happy Thanksgiving. Don't forget to be grateful and thankful, not just on Thanksgiving, but every day of your life, because there is something special. There is something to be grateful for, even if it's a tiny, tiny blade of grass.
Couldn't have said it better than myself. Paige, we'll see you next time on another episode of Our Second Act with Paige and Silke.
For your second act of life.
Bye-bye. Happy
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. And when you see that little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too and we'll notify you every time that we launch a new video. See you next time.